Welcome to the wonder of Britain, where I'm celebrating everything that I think puts the great into Great Britain. And this time I'm exploring some of our 19,000 miles of coastline. From a remote chain of islands... I can't believe that we're actually going to land here. ...to picture postcard fishing villages.
Hello, beautiful.
Rocky outcrops teeming with birds.
Go away!
And bustling ports. The shores of Britain have it all. It's been our gateway to the world, and it's been our first and last line of defence. This time, our wonder of Britain is our amazing coastline. North to south, east to west. It doesn't matter where you are in the country, you're never more than 70 miles from the sea. I've chosen my list of wonders because they reflect some of my personal favourites. And there are certain stretches of coastline that have had an unexpected impact on British life. Britain has a coastline longer than India's. It's a rich and varied mix with an almost endless list of things to do and see. So choosing where to start my journey is tricky. Maybe I could try surfing in Cornwall, where brave souls tackle some of the biggest waves in the world. Or sailing in the Solent, where strong tides and changeable conditions can test even the elite sailor. Or perhaps I could just enjoy some of Britain's best beaches, which are magical in both good and bad weather. This is Bamburgh Castle Beach in Northumberland. It's stunning, even on the greyest of days. But this place also has something else. Something that provides the universal soundtrack to our coastal life. I couldn't leave seabirds off my list. Just a mile off the coast is a small chain of rocky outcrops that play host to entire seabird cities. My first wonder is home to one of our greatest seabird colonies, the Farne Islands. There's not a lot of human activity on the Farne Islands, there never has been, but there are a lot of birds. In fact, this archipelago is Britain's most bird-rich landscape, tens of thousands of them, including 40,000 pairs of puffins. Over 23 species of seabirds make their home here, including guillemots, razorbills, kittiwakes, and shags, all offering a noisy welcome. But here on Inner Farne in early summer, it's visitor beware. These guys can turn at any moment. It's time to face the birds. Which is a daunting prospect, because the walkways are right next to the nests of these aggressive Arctic terns. The problem is these terns are fiercely protective, quite rightly, of their eggs. And I haven't found a way yet of avoiding it, apart from, I think, moving quite swiftly. Let's go. Oh, stay away! Oh, go away! Go away! Oh, look at them! Go for a gentle stroll on this island. Chief Ranger David Steele has spent years dodging them.
So I've been living out here for 14 years. 14 years of this, could you imagine?
No, it would drive me insane. And do you ever get used to it?
No, not at all. I mean, as you can see there, oh, goodness, it's coming for another go here, dear me. And no, you never get used to it. from about 4 o'clock in the morning right through to 11 o'clock at night. It never goes quiet. Even sort of, you know, in the small hours, they're still chirping away. And for a light sleeper like myself, oh, I'm having some difficulties at this moment, I can tell you.
You're a light sleeper.
I'm a light sleeper, and there's some terns decided to nest right under my bedroom window, and I can say I wake up in the morning going, no, please, just be quiet. It's just a case of accepting this is where they've come to choose to nest, and, you know, we're the strangers. It's their island.
But while the terns certainly make their presence known, the real stars of the show are the island's puffins. The Farne Islands are largely uninhabited. It means the cute, characterful birds thrive with plentiful food and a lack of predators. One of David's key jobs is to keep track of the population.
Well, let's go have a look at some puffins.
During hatching season, he keeps a watchful eye on their progress.
Puffins nest underground,
Yeah.
and they build their own burrows. Generally goes down about an arm's length, and at the end, there's 2 chambers. Single chamber for its single egg, the other chamber's for its toilet. So when you're putting your hand down, it's a lose-lose situation because you're either going to get a biting bird or a toilet. So, so the next 5 minutes of my life, I'm not looking forward to it.
You're doing this, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely, yes I am. So we'll give it a go. Here's one here. Oh, goodness gracious. Look at this. Good.
An arm's length, you said.
Oh, goodness, yeah. Oh, goodness, another big one.
Don't worry,
Ow.
I've got you. Get your arms stuck in
your
there.
hand. Oh, our luck is in. Here we go. Look at this little fella. I'm just going to pass it to him because I've got quite mucky hands. But this is a puffin chick, also known as a puffling.
A puffling.
A puffling.
That is just so fitting. It's such a cute name for such an incredibly cute creature.
It's only 3 to 4 days old, and you can tell just by the little white tip on the top of its beak there, which is actually its egg tooth, which it uses to get out the egg. Puffin chicks are fascinating little birds. They'll actually spend 40 days down this hole, just being fed by the parents, and then after 40 days, they'll actually come out under the cover of darkness because they don't want to be eaten by the gulls, and they'll actually walk to sea. So without parents' consent, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
And they take off? That's
And
it,
they
they're
take off, yeah, absolutely. And then they spend the next 3 years of their life on the open sea. They don't come back to land, they don't touch anywhere, they just literally sit on the sea for 3 years and then come back, hopefully, as a breeding adult.
We want you to come back, little fella, we really do.
Here he goes.
David and his team have to keep track of all the nesting birds on the farms. It requires keen eyesight, a strong stomach, and a lot of patience.
The nest is a pair of seabirds, and we're systematically going along the cliffs, and we're just going to count each one as we see it. And we do this for about 3 weeks, and at the end of it, we'll have this magic total of exactly how many birds are nesting on the Farne Islands. So, team, Lana, if you can count the kittiwakes, you can count the guillemots, Emma, and you can count the shags.
But it's not that easy to see the nests, David.
If you want to be a team member, you've got to get counting these birds.
It's actually incredibly difficult to do. A, you just keep drifting, and B, every time you look through your bins, you start to feel incredibly seasick. There's a shag! It doesn't count.
It doesn't
I know,
count.
but it's a shag.
You need to find its mate and its nest. 1.
I'm up and running.
I'm going to take some counts of that section we've just passed through. So kittiwakes.
217 kittiwakes.
Excellent. Guillemots.
1,980.
Fantastic. And shags.
9.
Dear. 9. Well, we've actually, we've either had a big crash in the population in the Farne Islands of shags, or just not very good at counting, are you? Don't give up the day job.
I think I'm just rubbish at this.
Up and down Britain's coast, there are hundreds of little rocky outcrops, all playing host to thousands of colonies like this. But for me, none is as extraordinary as the Farnes. Here you get up close and personal with the birds. It's like Britain's very own Galapagos Islands.
They're very special islands, and you don't really need to be an ornithologist to appreciate these beauties. I just really need to work on getting my eye in. Do not rely on my data.
I'm on my journey around some of Britain's 19,000 miles of coastline. And for my next wonder, I want to explore some of our world-class beaches. But with so many miles to choose from, it's hard to pick a favourite. There are the traditional seaside resorts of Blackpool and Brighton, and stunning natural features like Lulworth Cove or the Needles on the Isle of Wight. But I've chosen a place that has not only some of the most beautiful beaches in Britain, but also one of the most unusual.
And we're up. I'm heading north to a remote archipelago that I absolutely love, the Outer Hebrides. Now, the last time I visited, they were covered in snow. Today, it couldn't be a more different day. We're flying at about 1,400 feet, and so far, the flight has been smooth as silk.
The Outer Hebrides, also known as the Long Islands, stretch for 130 miles and are made up of over 200 separate islands. I'm heading for the tiny southern island of Barra. Just 5 miles wide and 8 miles long with a single road all the way round. It's famous as the location where Compton Mackenzie's novel Whiskey Galore was filmed, as well as having some of the most stunning beaches imaginable.
I can't believe that we're actually going to land here. It looks like some beautiful island location that we're just here to look at.
Just like the Caribbean without the temperature.
Yes.
But these wide sands at Triag Moor are more than just a beach. They house the island's tiny airport, which was recently voted as having the best approach in the world.
I can't see anything that resembles a runway.
And that's because the beach is the runway. And this is the only airport on the planet where scheduled flights land on sand, not tarmac. Welcome to Barra.
Hello, Barra. Kiss the ground like it's your sister. Don't be fooled by this incredible scenery. It is a proper airport, subject to all the same operational and safety procedures as an airport like Gatwick or Heathrow. It just looks very different. Very, very different.
Barra's tiny airport is governed by the tide. For a few hours every day when the sea is out, its handful of staff are ready to welcome the twice-daily service from Glasgow.
I tell you what, boys, I like the pace of life here at this airport. It's pretty good, isn't it?
It's pretty rapid, yeah.
Rapid. Rapid.
It shares this idyllic beach location with local dog walkers and cockle pickers. So I'm lending a hand by closing off the beach.
The trick is not to get blown away by this baby. There we go. It's vital to get this windsock up to close the beach off. Because what you don't want to be doing is having a nice little walk along Barra with your dog and a big plane mows you down.
With the first flight due at any moment, it's time to get the beach runway ready.
A very important job is making sure that there's nothing on the beach that could puncture the tyres of any of the aircraft that are landing. They have to do this twice a day for those 2 flights. I love that airport with 2 flights. Welcome to Barra.
Thank you very much. Very nice to be here.
I'm the welcoming committee, officially. Got a new role now. Hello. Welcome to Barra.
Hello, you.
Well, how are you? First time on the island?
On this one.
On this one.
As well as bringing tourists, this service brings in many of the daily supplies.
Scandal. What else? Is that it? That's it. I like this airport. Look at that. Bags directly from the trolley straight into the car. You don't get that at Heathrow.
And you don't get such a quick turnaround either. Within minutes of landing, this flight's ready to go again.
I'm exhausted. I'm going to have to do all that again in, 3 hours. Time for a lie down.
This is an amazing place. Even before our plane has disappeared from view, Barra is back to being a remote idyll.
Barra is a community airport that's the envy of the world, my kind of jet set. It's been such a privilege dropping in here today. Right, are we all packed up? Excellent.
Leaving Barra, I'm heading to the most northerly island of Looe. Continuously inhabited for over 5,000 years, it's a timeless spiritual spot. These are the mystical Callanish standing stones, considered one of the most significant and important megalithic sites in Europe.
Barra is such a tiny, remote island with just a few hundred inhabitants. But I was so caught up in the hoo-ha of the airport, I didn't really get a chance to absorb the isolation. So it's lovely to come somewhere and revel in solitude. And when you imagine the Outer Hebrides, this is the kind of image that probably pops into your head. Oh, don't let him bother you. That's my mate Martin. He's all right, really.
And it's Martin I've come to meet here at the glistening Loch Rogue. I'm not here to explore the beautiful scenery. I'm here to check out an unusual crop that's been an important part of life for centuries. My next wonder is seaweed.
There's my chariot.
How's that?
What
Once you
is
get
it,
wet now,
Martin?
this is a seaweed harvester.
A seaweed harvester.
This is how the big boys cut seaweed.
Right, let's give it a go then.
Let's go.
My ambition is to get you a bumper crop, Martin.
Seaweed is a naturally abundant resource that has many uses. Today we're looking for one of the most common and versatile varieties.
This is Ascophyllum nodosum, or knotted rack as they call it.
And what do you use it for?
So
Why is it so important?
This is good for a lot of things. Horticulture, agricultural use, and it's very high in vitamins. So it's also very good for human food.
Oh, is it?
One of the things that's very important for us is that it's sustainable. So that means that we are applying any fertilizer or doing anything to it. And you can see we're keeping the harvesting head so high above the seabed, leaving a bit of food of the plant, and that allows it to regrow much quicker.
But you're lucky you have a plentiful supply.
Yeah.
And it's a good system for you.
And it's a good system, and it's a
And a good system for the planet. Oh, nice scenery. I like your office.
But not all seaweeds can be harvested mechanically. On the other side of the Isle of Lewis, we're in search of a specialist variety that requires a more hands-on approach.
So we're here for a different kind of seaweed.
This is much harder to find. It's a type called Fucus serratus.
Fucus serratus.
Serratus,
Nice name.
because it has serrated blades on it.
Let's have a look. Yep. So I'm going to go in here. Not too far down.
No, leave a good
Just
bit.
about there?
Yeah, perfect.
This seaweed's only found in the area between low and high tides, so it can only be harvested for a few hours every day. But it's worth the effort.
We make extracts out of it, very high in antioxidants, which are known to be good for the skin, anti-aging.
So this is going to be used to make lotions and potions
Yeah,
that make you look younger.
that's it, exactly.
That is something I can invest a lot of time and energy into.
And after all that hard work, what better way to unwind?
I've been looking forward to a hot bath all day. It's tiring, all this running around.
Now this is what I call a room with a view.
I've always been a really big fan of the outdoor shower, but I think this experience might actually top it. And next time you see me, I'm going to look 20 years younger. Now, time for a bit of peace and quiet.
Coming up, I leave the stunning natural beauty of the Hebrides for the wonderful bustle of our ports. From our deep water channels that serve boats both large and small, to our fishing ports, serving up the catch of the day.
Got my power! Yes!
Britain has always been a seafaring nation, from the giant warships of the British Navy to the cargo carriers that transported goods around the empire. Over the centuries, Britannia Power was built on ruling the waves. And we're still a seafaring nation. Over 650 ports act as Britain's gateways. Over 97% of all our import and exports arrive or leave by ship. So next on my list of wonders, I want to explore some of Britain's best ports. But which one? I could have gone for the sheer size of the giant container port in the Thames estuary, or Liverpool's historic Albert Dock, a revolutionary port that allowed ships to load and unload right next to the warehouses. Or perhaps our busiest passenger port, Dover.
But I've chosen my next wonder for its functionality. It's Britain's busiest deep-water port for boats large and small. It also happens to be incredibly pretty. Welcome to Fowey.
Fowey Harbour is on the south coast of Cornwall, approximately halfway between Plymouth and Falmouth. It's an area of outstanding natural beauty. In high summer, tourists flock, and the narrow channel teems with up to 7,000 leisure craft. But Fowey also has a serious side. It's one of Britain's largest ports, with over 40% of all of the southwest exports passing through the harbour. Each year, 750,000 tonnes of locally mined china clay leaves here for use in paper and ceramics. Today, this massive cargo carrier, the Calvic, is here to collect 10,000 tonnes of clay. Manoeuvring a ship of this size into a small port takes great skill, as well as local knowledge of the hazards, including the ever-changing tides and sandbanks. So 24/7, Fowey's pilots are on standby to help guide ships on the tricky passage into port.
Fowey pilots got a Calvic, Channel 9.
Today, it's Captain Will Mitchell who's taking control.
Your heart can be pumping a bit when you look at the ship rolling, you think, I'm going up that ladder in a minute. You get up there, and I have a few moments to collect my thoughts, calm down, because the captain wants to meet a man who's going to guide him into safety. Afternoon.
As the ship looms into the harbour, its sheer size and weight is clear. From now on, any slight miscalculation could end in disaster.
I'm here to protect the ship and also the environment of this lovely port of Fowey. We don't want oil spills and accidents in our harbour. Morgar Kalvik. I'm coming astern now, so take her away, please. 3 short blasts is the international signal for I'm going astern.
Will must now make a 180-degree pirouette in the middle of the harbour. While the tug does the pulling, he has to keep the ship in the middle of the channel.
This is quite a critical part of the passage now. There's 2 tight turns to make, confined waters.
Will makes precise corrections with his bow thrusters to bring the Kalvik alongside the quay.
This is where the money's earned. He's got to get it right first time. There's no second go at this. So I'm getting the ship lined up, getting the speed right, the tug's there. It all happens now. I'll let you go, John, all right?
Now that's what I call parallel parking.
What's the job done and the pilot can go home?
Much of Britain's coastline has been shaped by one of our oldest industries, fishing. Like the superport of Grimsby, where 70% of all the seafood we eat in Britain today is processed. But if your tastes are more exotic than fish fingers, then I'd choose Oban on the Scottish west coast. Once famous for its herring, today the seafood capital of Scotland has gone all posh. Now these boats catch some of the best prawns and lobster in the sea. But I've chosen my next wonder because its geographical location means it's the source of some of the freshest fish in the country. Just a few miles along the Cornish coast is the port of Looe, where every day some of Britain's finest fish goes from sea to stomach in under 24 hours.
Look at that. Lovely colour. Now, most of us are not lucky enough to eat fish that's just been plucked from the sea. But when you do, oh, you can taste the difference. You really can.
The secret to Looe's super fresh fish is this tight tidal channel, which the big trawlers can't access. So with only small boats landing their catch here every day, getting the freshest fish means getting up early. Very early.
This is just a way of life for you now.
It is, yeah. 5:30 start every day. The fish got landed at 6 o'clock last night. The guys were grading all night long. Finished just before we turned up this morning. 6 hours later, we're selling the fish. We send a van out.
Look at the size of that.
That's a large cod.
That is.
And it's still stiff.
Ginormous.
This is actually a day boat quality, so it's no more than 12 hours old before it hits our market.
And still being stiff, that's a good sign.
That's rigor mortis is still set into that
So
fish.
that's how fresh it is.
It is indeed.
Let's have a look at his face. Hello, beautiful.
Each morning, the local buyers arrive looking for the best fish at the best price.
Look at that. That is some bit of kit, I must say. It's sort of Bangkok meets New York Stock Exchange.
Well, morning all. Here we go, ready? Hook and line mackerel, go, go, go. Nice grade there this morning.
Nice bit of mackerel. Lovely markings, look at that. Have they gone now?
Yeah, we don't hang around.
This is an electronic Dutch auction, and it's pretty confusing. But essentially, these guys are using their zappers to make silent bids against one another. It's kind of like fish poker. For the next hand, they're playing for this handsome lobster.
It's a male. Is that good or bad?
That's good for me.
Why is it good for you that it's a male?
The meat quality is better than a female.
OK.
Ready, conga buyers, go, go. Hook and line mackerel.
It's not quite the scene I was expecting. I thought there might be more noise. Everybody's very secretive, very furtive, and it's highly competitive. I mean, these guys know each other. Lots of them have been doing it for 20, 30 years. So they're obviously friends on one level, but on another level, their arch enemies, all trying to outbid one another for the best pollock.
The fish are so fresh that they're still arriving as the auction continues. Time to make myself useful with my mate Dan here.
If you press number 1,
Yeah.
when I say press it, if
Okay.
you press it, just keep your
And just keep finger on it.
Yeah.
Don't let go. What are you waiting for?
I'll go for the next ones.
What are you going for? I'll keep on.
I can't tell you. Yeah, go on, press it now.
There you go.
Just keep your finger on it.
Yeah, it's on.
That's it.
Yeah, done?
Yeah, you just bought me that have been landed this morning, which Richard's just bought in there, so...
I have to say, I'm really chuffed about that. I don't like mackerel, but the one time I do like mackerel is when it's caught and eaten on the same day, because it just tastes completely different. So that is good work.
I can't pay you commission, though.
You can't? Dan, what's the point? I got up at 4 o'clock and everything.
I was up at 3.
Okay.
On that place there, 3.1 then, who's going to give me £2?
I want to get my hands on some of my favourite fish, but with just a few left, they're now being sold off in the traditional shout auction.
Let's start there, £1.
Yep.
£1 I got there, £1, 120, 121, 40,
Yep.
40, 60, 60, 80,
Yep.
82 £2 anywhere,
Yep.
£2, 220, 240, 60,
Yep.
60, 80,
Yep.
80, £3 I got here. You're not going to win this one. No, 340, 360, 360, 380, 380.
Yep.
No, £4 when we're all done.
Yep.
Sold. Camera crew.
Got my pollock! Yes!
So there we go.
Harbours like Fowey and Looe that successfully mix business with pleasure are true wonders. But they'd be nothing without the ships and the boats that sail on them. And over the centuries, Britain has gained a bit of a reputation for building some of the greatest ships on the planet. Names like Ferguson and Swan Hunter. But there's one name above all that resonates with both triumph and tragedy in the shipbuilding world.
So next, my search for the wonders of Britain's coastline takes me to Belfast, the home of Harland and Wolff, who built some of the largest ships on the planet. And I uncover the hidden secrets of Dover Castle and its role in keeping Britain safe in an hour of need.
Defeat looked all but inevitable.
I've been travelling the country to explore what I think are the wonders of our coastline. And for a final leg, we're heading to Belfast on one of the most famous shipyards in the world. At the turn of the 20th century, 10% of all British ships were built here. Everything from battleships, cargo carriers, and opulent cruise liners. Harland and Wolff was once Belfast's biggest employer, with thousands of men working as riveters, platers, plumbers, welders, and designers. In 1908, the White Star Line commissioned Harland and Wolff to build the Olympic, and a year later, her sister ship, the most famous ship on Earth. Titanic.
Titanic was constructed really from the ground up, huge big steel plates being riveted together by thousands of men. You can imagine what the sound would have been like here 100 years ago. It would have been absolutely deafening.
It took 2 years and 3 million rivets to build Titanic. 880 feet long, she weighed in at 46,000 tons, the same as almost 300 747s. It made the Titanic the largest moving object on Earth. Susie Miller's great-grandfather Tommy helped build her.
Bearing in mind there were thousands of them, what are the chances that my great-grandfather would be the one in the very middle of the photograph, standing looking proud with his arms folded?
When Titanic was launched on April 2nd, 1912, Tommy Miller was one of the 2,200 passengers and crew. Recently bereaved, he'd enlisted as a ship's engineer. His plan was to set up a new life in New York before returning to collect his 2 young children. From a beach just across from the shipyard, Susie's grandfather was just a 5-year-old boy when he watched the great liner set sail on her ill-fated maiden voyage.
My grandfather remembers standing on this beach and watching Titanic sailing down Belfast Lough, and he couldn't understand why all the other people were cheering and were happy, because for him it was a very sad moment to watch his father sail away. Just before he left, Tommy gave them each 2 1912 pennies, and he told them not to spend them until they would all be together again as a family. So as my grandfather stood on this beach, he had the pennies so tight in his hand that you could see the date of 1912 in his palm. And I suppose he thought they would all be reunited within a couple of months, but it turned out somewhat differently.
Just 2 weeks later, Tommy Miller was one of the 1,500 passengers and crew who perished in the freezing Atlantic.
My grandfather used to spend a lot of his time on this beach. He would make his own little boats out of paper and he would launch them into the water here. And that's exactly what he was doing when his cousin came to tell him what had happened to Titanic. Just as she started to tell him, my grandfather's own little paper boat sank. And that gave her the opportunity to say, oh, look, do you remember the big boat that your dad sailed away on? Well, the same thing happened to it, and he won't be coming home.
Today, this museum and memorial commemorate Tommy Miller and all those who paid the ultimate price that night in April 1912.
Here he is, immortalised forever. Yes, it's the story of a ship, but more importantly, it's the story of people who were on her and who helped to build her. So it's really important that Belfast has now re-embraced the story, as it were, and is hearing the stories of people like my great-grandfather.
With the Titanic story, it seems as if time has finally allowed the grief to fade, and at last Belfast can celebrate its great shipbuilding tradition, which is without doubt a true wonder of Britain. And it's finding triumph in the face of overwhelming adversity that leads me to our final wonder. For centuries, it stood as our first line of defence, and in our darkest hour, it was our last beacon of hope.
So I'm heading to one of our many coastal fortresses. These strategically positioned strongholds have long been our first line of defence against attack. Like here at Carnarvon, a huge menacing castle that keeps watch over the Menai Straits. Or Bamborough Castle, dating back to the Dark Ages, it's visible for miles along the Northumberland coast.
This is one of the mightiest fortresses in Europe. Never conquered, the symbol of power and strength. Welcome to the key to England.
Welcome to Dover Castle.
This castle has a long and dramatic past. It was on active service for almost 1,000 years. From the invasion of William the Conqueror to the age of the nuclear missile, this is a vital strategic point guarding the shortest crossing to France. It's Britain's front line.
Dover is the largest castle in England. At its heart stands the Great Tower, 83 feet high, 100 feet square, with walls up to 21 feet thick. For nearly 900 years, it's kept the south coast safe. But in spring 1940, Dover faced her sternest test. In May 1940, the unstoppable massed ranks of Hitler's army were rampaging through France. In days, they would reach the French coast, just 21 miles from here. Hundreds of thousands of retreating British and French soldiers were trapped in a tiny port called Dunkirk. Defeat looked all but inevitable. Deep beneath Dover Castle is a vast network of tunnels, originally created during the Napoleonic War. In 1940, these became the HQ of a top-secret, potentially suicidal plan. With 400,000 men trapped on the beaches of Dunkirk, just 45 miles away, the task was to find ships to rescue them. Lots of ships. This was Operation Dynamo, and it had to succeed. Britain's future depended on it.
These had been left behind on the roads of France. Tanks, guns, motorized equipment, all abandoned to save the one priceless item, men.
The task of coordinating the mass evacuation fell to Vice Admiral Sir Bertram Ramsay. The clock was ticking.
We were in really big trouble. The German advance had been so rapid that the whole British Expeditionary Force and a big chunk of the French army was in danger of being surrounded by the German forces with nowhere to go.
And it all happened relatively quickly.
It happened in a number of days. The German advance started on the 10th, and by the 19th, when Ramsay gets notice to begin an evacuation operation, you know, they're almost surrounded.
24/7, the team worked furiously to muster enough vessels to rescue the troops. Ramsay had a camp bed set up next to his desk.
And this was the hub. This is where he slept. This is where he worked. It was a round-the-clock job.
Yeah, he was living and sleeping here for the whole 9 or 10 days of the operation. The job was right next door through a partition. All his staff were working there round the clock. Probably as many as 100 people in this one big tunnel here.
The operation room was staffed mostly by the women of the Wrens. Here, the telephone exchange was humming. Calls to the Royal Navy Command for more destroyers. Calls to the Ministry of Shipping for merchant ships. Calls to Southern Railway for troop trains. And calls to the Admiralty for tugboats, weapons, ammunition and trained personnel. Ramsay wrote to his wife, "No bed for any of us last night, and probably not for many nights."
It is quite difficult to imagine the enormous pressure that people were under, the 24/7 aspect of this, the lack of sleep, the constant phone calls, the noise, the chatter, no daylight. You just can't picture how you would cope.
After 7 long days and nights, on June the 2nd, 1940, at 23:30, a signal came through from Dunkirk. BEF evacuated. They'd done it. More than 338,000 men were safely back on British shores. Dunkirk was to be a turning point in the war, and we all know how that story ended. For me, Dover Castle, the secret tunnels and the scores of unsung heroes are all wonders of Britain. Stoically keeping watch over this tiny stretch of water for almost 1,000 years, this has become one of our greatest landmarks, the key to England. Are we set, Patrick?
We are indeed. Stand by. Fire!
Wow! I've always wanted to do that. That's quite a bang, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Look at that. Smoking.
And so my journey round our coastline comes full circle, where I've seen rugged natural beauty, wildlife galore, and how our ports cater for ships and cargo of all shapes and sizes.
There's a bit of mackerel, Lovely markings, look at that.
Even a castle that embodies Britain's defiant spirit.
Which leads me to the legendary White Cliffs of Dover. These cliffs have long been a significant landmark, but during the war, they became a potent symbol of this country's strength, defiance and battling spirit. Almost a British Statue of Liberty. And that's why I think this is the perfect place to end our coastal story. A true wonder of Britain.